Welcome to the landscape photography critique from John. Today I've got 10 pictures to critique, so let's get started with the first one. Here we have a really beautiful waterfall, really beautiful exposure time, beautiful lighting, very dynamic picture, and really like it. I really like the little fact that you have a leaf right here on the foreground, and actually these leaves right there are very interesting. They seem to spin. I mean, the picture is absolutely beautiful. Love the exposure time, love the look, beautiful framing. The only thing that I might have done a little bit differently would be to not include the end of this wooden piece right here. So I think you would get even more of a sense of leading you into the picture if you would actually not even include the end of this piece of wood right here. Let's go on to the next one here. So a very soft sunset picture from the distance, a lot of shades, and I definitely like it. You definitely composed it very well, but to me it's almost like a black and white picture. I do like the very soft color in this photo, and definitely the red tones are absolutely beautiful, but I still think it might even work a little bit better in black and white. But that said, it might also not work better in black and white, so it's really a great picture. This right here. I can see that you really put a lot of effort into every single shot. I mean, I have no idea how long you have to wait until, the sun is just right, coming from that point right there. And to the picture itself, it's very a simplistic picture. The fact that you have the sunburst right here definitely makes it even more interesting. I do like it. It's really a simplistic composition. Only thing I would do maybe a slightly bit differently is to crop off a little bit more of the stone right here, because I think it's almost a little bit too big. If you just would crop the image off right here, it might even work a little bit better, but once again, really small and very minor thing. Then let's go on here. That is really amazing. Once again, absolutely beautiful sun and beautiful sun rays. The lighting is very beautiful, very dynamic picture, and composition is great as well. You have to use the rule of thirds here. You have different layers to sand, to this kind of wet sand, to these waves, and then you have another wave. I really like that you didn't slow down the shutter speed that much, that you don't have any texture anymore in all of that stuff. I really actually like it. I think it gives a lot of interest into your picture, and I really like this person right here going into the frame. That kind of gives it a human element, and it feels even more like you're actually there by this little person walking into the picture. And I think it's a very important thing that he doesn't face out, but rather that he goes into the picture. I mean, absolutely amazing picture. Absolutely no idea how you could make this better. Let's go on here. And this one is a little bit differently. I like the ground concept, so you use different rocks right here going into these lines leading you through the picture, and I think it works quite well. However, there's a big minus point to me here, and that is this pile of rocks right here. I don't mind it being in the shot. Actually, I think it gives interest and depth into the picture, but it's too much to the center. If you just would have moved maybe a few inches to the left with your camera, you would have it way more at the edge of the frame, and I think that would make the whole picture seem very much more organic. That way it really almost bothers me to have it in the frame, because it's just too central. So yeah, I think you definitely have a really nice flow, but just this pile of rocks right here is too much to the center for me. Let's see there, another sunset picture, and you really have a nice rule of thirds here as well. I really love the symmetry of these two lines of these fences going into the picture very evenly, and the rule of thirds, of course, on the horizon right here. I think the picture is really beautiful and it definitely works, but there would be one thing that I would do differently. So you shot this at 60mm, so you could actually go a little bit wider, but even if you stick at 60mm, I would angle down the camera a little bit, so you even have more foreground, and so you even have a bigger difference between foreground and background, and so you overall have more foreground. By just angling the camera a little bit more downwards, you would lose some of the sky, but I don't think that's a bad thing. Really here, because even though the sky is really beautiful, I really don't think the picture would be any less beautiful with just, you know, half the amount of sky. So I really love to see a little bit more foreground, but of course ultimately that's up to you. That's definitely the artistic choice, and how it is right now, it's definitely a great picture anyways. Another waterfall picture, and this one is also really beautiful. This has a really beautiful composition. I love this flow. In terms of exposure time works pretty good, especially in the background. Maybe for the foreground, a little bit longer of exposure time would have worked even better, so all of that stuff is a little bit smoother here in the water, but that's a super small point. The overall image is absolutely beautiful. These lines from the rocks going through everything in both ways from all sides, leading you into the picture. I mean, it's an absolutely beautiful picture, really amazing composition. I definitely like the overall look. The overall lighting is very beautiful, but I don't know about this thing of rocks right here. So it seems like you could have walked a little bit to the right and just leave out this rock thing right here, because how it is right there, it actually kind of distracts me from the picture. It kind of doesn't lead anywhere, and it's not really flowing with the picture, because everything has nice curves and leading you through the picture, while this is just blocking my vision into the valley. I see that you probably wanted some additional interest in the foreground of your picture, but I really think that it would have worked way better if you just would have left that one out right there and just concentrate more on the valley. Now, I definitely like that you have some foreground in case of this cliff right here, but it's really different, very different to this one, because this element works perfectly for me and this is just a distraction. But overall, still beautiful color and still beautiful sun rays. This right here is a very different picture, almost a macro shot. I really like these close-up pictures going to the big background. I really like that look. And once again, you have some beautiful sun rays here. I think without the sun and the sun rays, the starburst in the picture, it would be a very different photo. And how it is right now, I really like it. That sun definitely gives so much interest to the picture, and the fact that you have this little red leaf, which kind is in contrast to the more yellowish and greenish background, mostly yellowish, but that really gives a lot of differentiation and it's really a nice contrast to the rest of the scene. Now, the only thing that bothers me here is this tree right here, this little tree or whatever it might be, because it is bigger than the middle ground trees or plants right there, but it's also smaller than these trees, so it's kind of a misproportion. If it would be somewhere in the background or kind of cut off from the picture, I really wouldn't mind it, but how it is right there, it really distracts me from the overall picture. But that said, it's not that big of a deal, definitely not that big of a distraction as this rock right there. And I mean, I like the foreground in terms of everything else. I really like this piece piece of wood leading you into the picture. Just this little tree is something I don't really like, but that said, I mean, what better option do you have? You definitely don't want to kill it or anything like that, and finding another foreground that is as strong with this piece of wood and with this foliage right there might be difficult too. So overall, I still think it's a really good picture, but that's just a minor distraction for me. Overall, I really like the grand concept of the picture and the overall feel and the overall look of it. So this is the last picture, and I really love this exposure time. Absolutely beautiful with these waves. I really like that you don't go super slow with your exposure time if you have water in the frame. I know a lot of people just go instantly at like 30 seconds, but sometimes if you get the motion in the waves just right, it can add so much to your picture, and you definitely manage to do that. The sun is absolutely beautiful here, you have beautiful sun rays, starburst once again, and I really love that this kind of warm water goes into the foreground and also creates a leading line into the picture. The only thing that kind of distracts me are these pillars from the bridge or from the pier, because you have everything relatively, straight up and perfectly straight to rise and then everything, and then you have these cricket elements in this picture so directly in the foreground. I think it would have worked even better if you just would have stepped a little bit closer and not introduced any of these front pillars right here. But that said, that's just my personal opinion, and I definitely can see someone saying that they really like that because it gives a nice contrast between the other very straight element. So I really don't think that would be a better picture. It just would be something that might be worth to take into consideration, but ultimately, of course, it's you who has to decide which one works the best, and I definitely think that's an amazing picture regardless. So these were the 10 pictures of John. Really appreciate you submitting them. You definitely have very high quality pictures, and I pretty much like all of them. Especially love this one right here, this one, the first one right there, this one as well. I mean, you have really, all of your pictures are great. Just some minor things that I might change with one or another, but overall you really have a lot of skill and your pictures are really on a high level. So thank you very much once again for submitting your photos. It really was a pleasure looking at them, and it was also a lot of fun. If you would like to submit your own landscape pictures, be sure to check out the little info card in the top right corner of this video, and you will see a video where I explain everything on how you can submit your landscape pictures for me to give an honest critique on. So thank you all very much for watching. Of course, be sure to subscribe for more videos just like this one, Lightroom tutorials, and all kind of photography related videos in the future. Keep taking awesome pictures, and I want to wish you a great day. Take care.